Part 126. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1251. Chapter 1251 Complex Interpersonal Relationships 3. No matter what, I am little Mickey's grandfather. According to the relationship between Kwanzaa and your manman, they will remarry sooner or later, so we are considered future in-laws. Do you want to drive away your future in-laws now? Tang Wentao said, well-founded. Qi Zhan's words were blocked in his throat and he did not burst out. Qi Zhan was angry in his heart. Both of his women were entangled with Tang Wentao's son. This was a bad fate. Compared to Qi Zhan's dissatisfaction, Tang Wentao felt very happy at the moment. Seeing Qi Zhan's inability to deal with him, he considered this battle a victory. While Qi Zhan was in a daze, Tang Wentao came in dragging his luggage. Seeing Tang Wentao come in, Tang Feishan also came in. Tang Feishan, who allowed you to come in? How is it? Manman is my brother's woman, my sister-in-law. I live in my sister-in-law's house, so she won't drive me away. Tang Feishan smiled gently, spoke slowly, and in a relaxed tone, dragging his luggage. Just go inside. Murongye bared his teeth at Tang Feishan and turned his head to look at Jian Yuman pitifully. Facing Murongye's pitiful eyes, Jian Yuman chose not to see it and turned her head away. Mr. Tang's brother is my brother. Of course he is welcome. Sister, I am still your brother-in-law. This, oh my God. Oh Earth. Could you please stop torturing me? This relationship is a bit confusing. Can she pretend to know nothing? Jian Yuman suddenly had a headache and hid with her son in her arms. There was no hope of running away from home for the time being, so she could only entertain these big Buddhas at home. At this moment, all the guest rooms in Jian Yuman's house are occupied. There are not enough rooms, so Tang Wentao and Tang Feishan and his son squeeze into one room, while Jian Yuman and his son sleep in the same room. As early as when Qi Lili came, little Mickey's room just let Qi Lili live. The villa, which was not big to begin with, was full of people. It was enough to make her distressed because of the overcrowding, and the relationships between them were also messed up. If you think about the relationships carefully, it would make a big family whole. Should she call Tang Yuj to ask him to come back quickly and increase the complex interpersonal relationships in this house? She cannot suffer alone. On the first night of her stay, Jian Yuman was busy preparing dinner. Her face was a little dark, because she had to prepare dinner for 11 people. Originally they were all made by the chef, but under Chao Xiaofeng's coaxing, everyone said they would come directly to a small gathering tonight to promote friendly relations among everyone. Jian Yuman almost took out her 11-meter-long knife and chased the outsider Chao Xiaofeng. Qi Lili and Jian Mama volunteered to help prepare dinner, and Tang Feishan also rolled up his sleeves to help. He helped Murongye, so there was no reason not to help. What if Tang Feishan performed too well and snatched the woman away? Jian's mother joined and also brought Qi Zhan's help, so the kitchen was almost overcrowded. The scene between Tang Feishan, Murongye and Qi Lili is like this. Qi Lil washed the potatoes with a cool face. Tang Feishan smiled tenderly and took the potatoes from her hand to peel them. Murongye angrily snatched the potatoes from Tang Feishan's hands, knocked Tang Feishan away with his butt, and smashed a fist into the ground. Of potatoes, cut into the size of a free-range egg. Qi Lili threw Murongye out of the kitchen with a black look on her face, and even took out a knife to threaten him and not allow him to enter the kitchen again. Murongye naturally would not leave Qi Lili and Tang Feishan alone, so he stood at the door of the kitchen and muttered, turning on various barrage modes. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 1252. Chapter 1252 Complex Interpersonal Relationships 4. Qi Lili threw Murongye out of the kitchen with a black look on her face, and even took out a knife to threaten him and not allow him to enter the kitchen again. Mirongye naturally would not leave Chi Lili and Tang Feishan alone, so he stood at the door of the kitchen and muttered, turning on various barrage modes. Taunting Tang Feishan's help was not that good. They chatted about yesterday's events. He dared to be second in ability to chatter, and no one dared to be ranked first. On the other hand, Qijan and Qianxianer were much more harmonious. Qianxianer washed the vegetables, while Qijan took the vegetables from Qianxianer's hand and cut them. When they were a couple, they would often help each other cook together. Qianxianer's skills were average, but Qijan's skills were just okay, so they used to cook together for Qianyuman and her sisters. With Mirongye, a noisy man, in the kitchen was very busy. They only made 6 dishes and 1 soup, but every dish was like a big pot of vegetables, enough for everyone to eat. While waiting to choose a position, there was another bustle. Naturally, Chi Lili was squeezed in the middle by Tang Feishan and Mirongye. The positions opposite Qianxianer were also raised by 3 men. Chao Xiaofeng and Xian Yuanxun chose a corner to eat quietly, and Qian Yuman also chose a corner to take care of her son. Qian Yuman drank a lot of wine that night. As he ate, the atmosphere turned from awkward to lively. The smell of vinegar that was flying everywhere was also tempered. Everyone, you and I cheered, and we had a great time. Little Mickey also secretly took a sip, and when he was drunk, he hugged Chao Xiaofeng and fell asleep. The atmosphere at night was pretty good. Chi Lil was lying on the balcony looking at the garden in front of her while drinking. Qian Yuman walked up to her carrying a bottle of red wine. "What are you thinking about?" Chi Lil handed over the wine glass, and Qian Yuman helped her fill it up with wine. Chi Lili pointed outside. Qian Yuman glanced at it and burst into laughter. "Are those Fei Chen and Mirongye?" In a corner of the garden outside, Mirongye was holding a bottle of red wine and hugging Tang Feishan, lying in the garden. Both of them were drunk and unconscious. "What are they doing?" "I don't know, but suddenly the relationship has become very good." A faint smile appeared on the corner of Chi Lili's mouth. "Ha ha ha, I'll take a picture and use it to laugh at them when they wake up tomorrow." Qian Yuman excitedly ran to find her cell phone to take pictures of them. Chi Lil burst into laughter and drank the wine in her mouth. She kept staring at the 2 men sleeping in the garden, her eyes becoming softer and gentler. At this time, she saw Tang Feishan holding Mirongye's head, kissing him the face, opening his mouth, keeping his eyes closed, holding Mirongye's head, closing his eyes and continuing to sleep. Seeing this, Chi Lili's eyes became very complicated. She could clearly tell from Tang Fei's silent shouting that he was calling her name. The scene was obviously interesting, but she realized that her heart was shaken again. She turned her head away and looked elsewhere. When she saw it, she found Qianyi holding a SLR camera to take pictures in a coquettish manner. "Ha ha ha. I actually took a picture of Fei Chen hugging Mirongqin. Ha ha ha, there will be plenty of laughter in the next year." Qian Yuman laughed. When she went to get her mobile phone just now, she thought that taking pictures at night would be impossible. Clearly, in order to prevent the 2 grown men from denying the truth about what happened to them tomorrow, I took a SLR camera. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1253. Chapter 1253 Complex Interpersonal Relationships 5. Ha ha ha. I actually took a picture of Fei Chen hugging Mirongqin. Ha ha ha, there will be plenty of laughter in the next year. Qian Yuman laughed. When she went to get her mobile phone just now, she thought that taking pictures at night would be impossible. Clearly, in order to prevent the 2 grown men from denying the truth about what happened to them tomorrow, I took a SLR camera. Sister, Chi-Lil was amused by her sister's expression and laughed out loud. Don't worry sister, if they really decide to become a couple, sister will introduce you to a good man. Jian-Yuman grinned. She also saw the sadness in her sister's eyes just now, and deliberately said humorous words to adjust the atmosphere. Then please leave it to my sister. Jian-Yuman proudly patted her chest to reassure herself, and happily ran downstairs with her camera in hand, intending to take some photos at close range. In another lawn in the garden, Chao Xiaofeng, with blushing cheeks, was lying on the grass looking up at the sky. Next to her sat Xian Yuanxun. The starry sky tonight is particularly beautiful. You can even see nebulae. It's so beautiful. The moon is also very bright. Under the moonlight, Xian Yuanxun, who is sitting and looking up at the sky, seems to have a circle of light shining around him. He looks more and more handsome as he looks at it. Chao Xiaofeng felt that her heartbeat was getting faster and faster, and her face turned slightly red. She covered her little heart. No. It had only been 3 or 4 months since her last relationship. How could she have moved on and fallen in love with another man so quickly? However, when she took another look at Xian Yuanxun, who had the same hobby as Jian-Yuman and liked handsome men, she was still fascinated by the beautiful scenery in front of her. At this time, Xian Yuanxun felt a gaze on him. He turned around and saw Chao Xiaofeng's eyes staring at him, and his eyes were also drawn away by her bright eyes. Master, has anyone ever said that your eyes are like stars, just like the stars tonight? Xian Yuanxun smiled slightly and shook his head. You are the first. Xian Yuanxun's smile made Chao Xiaofeng's heart beat faster. It was over, and her girlish heart began to throb again. She really fell in love with the man who existed like a prince charming in front of her. Oh my! We have to pursue the victory, so why not confess now to see if he has feelings for him? Master, I ask you a question, you can choose to answer me, but even if you don't agree, you have to throw it down. Chao Xiaofeng sat up and grabbed Xian Yuanxun's hand. She was fearless at this moment. Even though she is an immortal and there is a huge difference in family background, her emotional frustration with Ye Yuan will not prevent her from seeking other relationships, nor will she completely lose hope in people. She is ready to confess now. But what? Xian Yuanxun's eyes fell on her clasped hands, and his eyes became gentler. He probably guessed what she was going to do, and the smile on his face became even brighter. It's not important, what's important is that I seem to like you, and nothing else is important. The two looked at each other, deeply attracted to each other, and the ambiguous atmosphere continued to rise. She could feel her heart beating faster and faster, and the smile on her face became brighter and brighter. Chao Xiaofeng took a deep breath, blinked her beautiful eyes, and spoke slowly. Master, are you happy? Just when Chao Xiaofeng was about to ask if she liked me, several clicks were heard that ruined the atmosphere. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1254. Chapter 1254 Matchmaker Man is on line 1. Just when Chao Xiaofeng was about to ask Xian Yuanxun if he liked me, several clicks were heard that ruined the atmosphere. Chao Xiaofeng, who was already a little nervous, was frightened away by the sound of these shutters. She quickly let go of Xian Yuanxun's hand and looked at the source of the sound with some annoyance. As for the culprit, Miss Jian-Yuman, she was holding a cannon in her hand and pressing the shutter button several times. She had a bright smile on her lips and narrowed her eyes into slits. Chao Xiaofeng gritted his teeth and glared at Jian-Yuman, which was also photographed. At the same time, Jian-Yuman noticed that it seemed that they did not continue to express their feelings and looked in her direction. Oops, keep going, Jian-Yuman blinked innocently and spoke shamelessly. Continue. Chao Xiaofeng stood up angrily and rushed over. Carry on, sister. If you continue, you have already ruined the atmosphere. Now she no longer has any thoughts of confessing. She has a lot of thoughts of hitting people. She turns all her dissatisfaction into fists to attack Qianyuman. Qianyuman was startled, jumped up from the spot, and ran away with a smile. Oops, a woman in heat cannot control the passion in her body, so she vents it out to innocent passers-by. Man, you still said, let's see if I don't beat you to death. Chao Xiaofeng's face was as red as a monkey's because of Qianyuman's teasing. Chao Xiaofeng became so angry that she could only vent her emotions to this bad guy. Help! Brother, help! Qianyuman made a detour and ran towards Xianyuanxun. Brother, this sister-in-law you are looking for is so rough. How scary! If you want to bully your sister, you can forget about her if you have a woman. You can't cheat her. Qianyuman yelled in a cowardly manner, grabbing Xianyuanxun's back clothes, showing a look that made Chao Xiaofeng want to tear her apart, raised her eyebrows, and grinned. Her expression was very funny. Chao Xiaofeng's face turned red even more because of Qianyuman's words. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to turn around and run away immediately. She was too embarrassed to see anyone, and she hadn't confessed yet. Sister, if you don't leave, I'm going to beat you up. Xianyuanxun pushed Qianyuman, who had been chasing her and Chao Xiaofeng, and used himself as a pillar to circle the two women. Passing out and feeling very helpless. As expected, my brother has a sister-in-law and no longer wants a sister. I want to complain to my little sister. Qianyuman jumped up, turned around and ran away, the smile on her face even brighter. Qianyuman ran away. Chao Xiaofeng looked back at Xianyuanxun, then at Qianyuman who ran away, stamped her feet, and continued to chase Qianyuman quickly. Xiaofeng When Xianyuanxun saw Chao Xiaofeng, his face turned red and he ran away shyly, with a bright smile on his lips. What are you doing? Chao Xiaofeng covered her face and ran towards the house, shouting out loud. Chao Xiaofeng stopped and continued running. Xianyuanxun had no choice but to catch up. Stop running. It would be weird if I didn't run away. I was so embarrassed by Manman that I no longer had the courage to confess my love. Now and Chao Xiaofeng were petite and had short legs. After taking a few steps, Xianyuanxun stopped her and held her hand. Wait a minute, I have something to tell you. Have something to say? Chao Xiaofeng's heartbeat accelerated sharply. She looked at Xianyuanxun cautiously with her big round eyes. When she caught sight of her, she immediately moved her eyes away in embarrassment. Her face seemed to get even hotter. Chao Xiaofeng wanted to run away at this moment, but her feet were not obedient and she was unwilling to take steps to escape. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1255. Chapter 1255 Matchmaker Man is online too. Chao Xiaofeng wanted to run away at this moment, but her feet were not obedient and she was unwilling to take steps to escape. I'm so nervous, what should I do? As if something is about to happen. Could he be telling her that he likes her too? Like it too? He. Thinking of this, the smile on Chao Xiaofeng's face became sweeter, and she was immersed in her own fantasy. Oops. Don't think blindly, maybe he is explaining Manman's nonsense just now. But what to do? I'm so nervous, so anxious, and so excited. If I confess to her, should she be reserved and pretend to be reluctant before agreeing? Let him pursue her for 2 days? But I really want to agree. If I really ask her if she is willing, should she say yes? Xianyuanxun smiled handsomely, held Chao Xiaofeng's hand, and stared at her shyly. Xiaofeng, there are some things you shouldn't take the initiative to say. I think it's better for me to take the initiative. I do. Chao Xiaofeng shouted out. After shouting out, he was stunned. He blinked his big innocent eyes with an embarrassed expression, bit his lower lip and turned away his face. He shyly wanted to find a place to get into trouble right away. Go down. What did she say? Chao Xiaofeng's reaction made Peng Xiao, the immortal hero, born. Although he knew that he shouldn't react like this at this moment, he still couldn't help it, and his eyes looking at Chao Xiaofeng became more and more gentle. Ouch, why are you laughing? Chao Xiaofeng stomped her feet, wanting to find a piece of tofu and kill her in shame. Chao Xiaofeng tried unsuccessfully to withdraw her hand, her cheeks turned red and her eyes fell elsewhere. I'm not laughing, I'm just happy. Xian Yuanxun firmly refused to admit it and was amused by her appearance. Why are you happy? She is so embarrassed. Xian Yuanxun held her hand, held her face in his hand, and faced him. I'm very happy that you heard my inner voice and heard me asking you in my heart if you would like to be my girlfriend, and your answer was yes. The moment Chao Xiaofeng passed away, the sound of the shackles that she could never escape from in her life rang out, and her once scarred heart was instantly healed. She was also willing to be tightly imprisoned by him, imprisoning her heart with his love. Master, you mean. What should I do? She was so happy and excited. Xian Yuanxun smiled and shook his head, hugging the little silly girl in front of him into his arms. Do you need me to ask again? Are you willing to be my immortal ancestor's girlfriend? I do. Say important things 3 times. This time Chao Xiaofeng waited for Xian Yuanxun to say it before answering. When the word Xian Yuanxun fell, she immediately shouted out, fearing that he would take back his words. I'm very happy. Xian Yuanxun stroked her short hair with a doting look on his face. I'm happy. Chao Xiaofeng opened her arms and hugged him hard, with a happy smile on her face. Have never been so happy, never before. She did not expect that she would gain new happiness so quickly, leave the past behind and embrace the future. Thinking about it this way, I am lucky that the scars from the past have not been lost, so there is no chance to embrace the happiness of the present moment. There is no problem between them, at least in terms of family matters. Xian Yuanxun's father has no problem. In the past 3 or 4 months, Xian Kaiping and Chao Xiaofeng have been getting along very happily. Finally, I can have a good relationship without any worries. Qian Yuman ran into the house panting, hung the camera around her neck, and looked breathlessly at the man and woman talking in a corner, with a cunning light flashing in his eyes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1256. Chapter 1256 Matchmaker Man is online 3. Qian Yuman ran into the house panting, hung the camera around her neck, and looked breathlessly at the man and woman talking in a corner, with a cunning light flashing in his eyes. Ouch. Interesting. It's really interesting. Qian Yuman was all excited. Just now when she went out to run Murangye, she saw her brother and Xiaofeng walking together, and now she saw the major discovery of the century. I saw Qian Xiener and Qi Zhan drinking together in a corner of the room. They were talking and laughing. The scene was very harmonious. This was a scene Qian Yuman had not seen for a long time. I remember when I was young, my mother and father would often sit close together, fry a plate of side dishes, and sit on the roof together to look at the stars and the moon. I didn't expect to see them drinking together again today. What a wonderful night! The smile on Qian Yuman's face was very bright. She immediately turned around and ran towards the house, taking out a bottle of comrade aphrodisiac that Tangyuj had given her not long ago and insisted on savoring. I still remember that Tangyuj held up the aphrodisiac and insisted on letting Qian Yuman experience it again. Only then did Qian Yuman know that this girl could identify aphrodisiacs just by smelling them when they were together. So when she deliberately tried to give her an aphrodisiac, he knew what he was doing. Dark belly. So bad. Even when he first met, he suspected that he knew there was medicine in the wine. Qian Yuman held up the aphrodisiac in her hand and fumbled for a bottle of very expensive red wine. This was Qian Yuman's collection, but today she wanted to take it out to celebrate for the happiness of her mother and father. Oops. Thinking about it, I'm still very excited. My parents are getting back together soon. Telling Qian Yuman, who was going to be a matchmaker, he poured all the medicine into the wine and walked toward his parents with the red wine in his hand. Dad, Mom. What are you talking about? Qian Yuman kept her normal attitude, concealing her truest thoughts and came to her parents. You haven't slept yet? Qian Xian'er asked with a smile. No, Qian Yuman forced herself to sit between her parents. She was already happy, especially after seeing her father's dissatisfied look for a moment. It seems that she can take the most unorthodox matchmaker qualification certificate in history. Do you want a drink? Qian Yuman held up the red wine in her hand and helped them fill up the wine glasses without waiting for their reply. She smiled brightly. However, her parents didn't realize how bad their daughter was, so they focused their attention on them. This is good wine. I can't bear to drink it if Mr. Tang wants to drink it. If I'm in a good mood tonight, I'll drink it for you too, Qian Yuman said while pouring the wine. Qian Xian'er and Qi Zhan didn't notice anything wrong with their daughter at all. They sniffed it with their noses and looked at their daughter in surprise. It is indeed a good wine. That's right, Qian Yuman smiled brightly. Of course it's a good wine, and it's a good wine that can bring you together. Even 10 million can't buy it. Thinking of Xian Kaiping and Tang Wentao, who were good friends in the past, sitting together today. The two of them drank wildly without giving in. The two of them, who were already light drinkers, had already fallen asleep in the room. If you knew what Qian Yuman did tonight, he would definitely be unwilling to drink even if he died. Even if he was drunk, he would still crawl out and cause destruction. None of them knew what was going to happen in advance. Qi Zhan asked with a smile. Daughter, why don't you drink? End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1257. Chapter 1257 Matchmaker Man is online 4. Qi Zhan asked with a smile. Daughter, why don't you drink? I won't drink anymore. If I get drunk, no one will take care of little Mickey. Qian Yuman said in excuse, but what she was thinking was, where can she drink? If she drinks, who will she vent to? Yes, Qi Zhan did not doubt the authenticity of his daughter's words. He raised his glass and clinked it with Qian Xian'er. Hey, Manman has grown up too, Qi Zhan suddenly sighed with emotion. Although her memory has not yet been restored, Qian Xian'er could feel the emotion in Qi Zhan's words and nodded with a smile. Qi Zhan looked at his daughter and continued. Back then, I was still a little boy, but now my son can run and call himself grandpa and grandma. You may see your great-grandson soon, Qian Yuman added with a smile, adding more wine to her parents' glasses. Watching my parents drink the wine, all I thought about was that they had drunk the compound wine and that a wonderful tomorrow was about to come. Qi Zhan continued to lament that time flies so fast. After Qian Yuman reconciled for a few words, he found an excuse and ran away. In fact, he didn't sneak away at all. Instead, he hid in the corner and observed the interaction between his parents. At this moment, Qi Zhan and Qian Xian'er were not aware of Qian Yuman's evil idea at all. They continued chatting in a harmonious atmosphere. As they talked, Qi Zhan tugged on his collar. It's April, and the weather seems to be getting hotter and hotter. Qi Zhan's medicine took effect and his body got hotter and hotter, but he didn't find the problem and thought it was because the weather was getting hotter. Qian Xian'er's face turned red and her eyes became confused. She stretched out her hand to fan the wind. It's a little hot. And I'm a little drunk. Qian Xianer showed a confused smile, took a deep breath, and leaned on Qi Zhan. Are you very hot? Qian Xianer asked. It's very hot. Qi Zhan felt uncomfortable all over, and he felt hotter and hotter. After Qian Xianer leaned on him, he seemed to be even hotter. Strange, why do you still feel your body is so cool? Qian Xianer asked confusedly, getting closer to Qi Zhan. The closer they were, the more comfortable they felt. What a strange feeling. Qian Yuman, who cheated her parents, is in the corner now, holding a SLR camera and happily taking photos. Tonight was really wonderful. I took so many memorable photos of the lake. Seeing their happy faces, Qian Yuman was also infected. Kizan, Qian Xianer's head became more and more confused. At first she just leaned on Kizan, but later she couldn't help but hug him. I feel so hot, what should I do? Qian Xianer felt a little confused and a little hesitant in her heart. She hugged him with her body and felt so comfortable. But the reason in their heads told themselves that they shouldn't be like this, it was wrong to do this. Xianer, you. Qi Zhan discovered something was wrong. Why was Qian Xianer so proactive tonight? His whole body felt bad, Zhu was very excited, and his body became disobedient. He wanted to hug her immediately. This idea was very strong, and he tried hard to restrain himself for fear of scaring her. But when he regained consciousness, he found that not only was he hugging Xianer, but his hands were even beginning to be dishonest. What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? Why can't he control himself? At the same time, he also realized that something was wrong with Xianer. Instead of pushing him away or scolding him for his weakness, he actually hugged him and took the initiative to seduce him. Xiao Manman's slogan is, "Make trouble. Life would be so boring if you didn't do anything. Make trouble. Make trouble. Make trouble. It won't be long before I have a little brother. Come on, parents." End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1258. Chapter 1258 Matchmaker Man is on line 6. Qian Yuman had been waiting for 30 minutes. When Qi Zhan appeared at the door with a gloomy face, his expression suddenly changed strangely when he saw his daughter. Immediately afterwards, Qian Xianer walked out from behind Qi Zhan with a blushing face. When she saw Qian Yuman moving a chair and sitting at the door, her face became even redder. She hid behind Qi Zhan like a frightened rabbit. The moment Qian Yuman opened the door, she raised the cannon in her hand and pressed the shutter frantically, recording both her father's expression and her mother's expression. It's worth it. It's worth waiting for so long. Brother, this matter is no problem, it's done, it's perfect. Qian Yuman happily shook her head and even stood up to take photos of her parents from several angles. Qi Zhan's expression was a little strange. He glanced at the shy Qian Xianer behind him, and then at his eldest daughter. He sighed helplessly, stepped forward, grabbed his daughter's ears and began to force a confession. Tell me, was it your fault yesterday? Qi Zhan showed anger, pinched his daughter's ears and yelled. Manman, you. Qian Xianer hid behind Qi Zhan, also annoyed, pointing at her daughter and wanting to curse. Ah! It hurts, what? What did you say? Dad, it hurts when you squeeze me. Qian Yuman didn't expect that her father would teach her a lesson. It seemed that her sister had guessed something, and she was really doomed. Pretending to be stupid? Is there something wrong with the wine your mother drank last night? Qi Zhan's roar almost deafened Manman. Qian Yuman, who wants to act stupid, is still hesitant whether to continue to act stupid. I complained in my heart. Dad. Daughter, I just want to help you conquer Mom. Why are you angry, and why are you still burning your anger on your daughter who is so helpful? You heartless father, your ears were pinched by you. Woo woo woo. Jian Yuman felt so wronged that even those who felt wronged shed tears. But when I think about my soon-to-be-born younger brother, I wonder if he will look a lot like me. He will definitely look a lot like little Mickey by then, and people who take him out may think he is his younger brother. Don't know what to name it. The surname must be Chi after his father's, but if his mother doesn't want to marry, he can take her surname Jian. But, Jian Yuman, wait a minute. The imagination is a little far. Ouch, it hurts so much, Jian Yuman was thinking wildly and her mind was wide open. She even thought of her brother's name and completely forgot that she was in danger. I haven't hit you for a long time. People who don't know think that I don't know how to teach my daughter. Qi Zhan looked angry and looked for something in his private parts that could be used to hit someone. I feel sorry for my daughter in my heart. I have no choice but to clear up the relationship in this matter. If Xiener thinks that he and his daughter are conspiring together, he will not be able to clean it up by jumping into the Yellow River in the future. Zhan, what are you doing? Qian Xiener realized that the situation was a little out of control, so she patted Qi Zhan's hand and asked her to let go of Jian Yuman. Teach your daughter a lesson. You actually got the trick on me last night. If you don't teach me a lesson, there will definitely be a next time. Qi Zhan found a clothes rack and chased after Jian Yuman. Jian Yuman took a look, put oil on the soles of his feet, and started galloping quickly. Dad, I know I was wrong, I won't dare to do it next time. You can't do this, I don't want you to get back together. Do I need your help with this? Have you asked us for permission? Qi Zhan quickly chased Jian Yuman downstairs, and the chase led him to the garden. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1259. Chapter 1259 Matchmaker Man is online 7. Do I need your help with this? Have you asked us for permission? Qi Zhan quickly chased Jian Yuman downstairs, and the chase led him to the garden. Jian Yuman ran very fast, Qi Zhan chased him fast, and Jian Xiener sprinted too slowly to make it in time. Once outside, the effort on Qi Zhan's face disappeared, and he watched his daughter running quickly with amusement. Okay, stop running, it's almost time. Qi Zhan waved to his daughter, squatted in the haystack, and looked at Jian Xiener before she could chase her out. Jian Yuman stopped, looked at her father with a depressed look, and rubbed her ears. Dad, you are so immoral, woohoo, his ears. Qi Zhan burst into laughter. Who asked you to put your evil ideas on me? You have to put on a show in front of your mother, otherwise she may never pay attention to me again in the future, and you will only be a little wronged. Jian Yuman burst into laughter, feeling that she had become a victim. Did you succeed last night? Jian Yuman raised her eyebrows with a gossipy look on her face. I saw Qi Zhan smiling and touching his daughter's hand, nodding slowly, and then giving a thumbs up to his daughter. La la la. Instantly, Jian Yuman felt that spring was blooming, the flowers were fragrant, and there were many little fairies playing music. She was so happy. Oops, just a few seconds after Jian Yuman was happy, Qi Zhan saw Jian Xiener chasing her out, and suddenly grabbed his daughter's ears. The clothes hanger in his hand seemed to be forceful, but in fact he patted Jian Xiener very gently. On ye man. I'm going to give you a good beating today because you're disobedient. Qi Zhan's expression changed at every turn, from the smiling expression of an old fox just now to that of an angry lion. Ah! Dad, I know I was wrong. Mom, please take care of your husband, Jian Yuman performed vigorously, desperately asking for help. Okay. Stop fighting. Qian Xian'er felt distressed for a moment, blocked Qizhan, and protected her daughter behind her. You are so grown up, but you still beat your daughter. She is just a child. Yes. I'm still a baby. Qian Yuman stuck her head out, looking pitiful. Every baby makes mistakes. But Xian'er, if it weren't for the stinky girl last night, I wouldn't be with you. I'm sorry for you. Things have happened, and it's useless for you to fight Manman. But, I don't blame you. Why did you hit Manman? Qian Xian'er glared at Qizhan and immediately checked whether there were any injuries on her daughter's body. She was immediately pushed away by Qian Yuman. Mom, it's okay, if you check this, you will definitely see that there are no injuries on her body. Xian'er, don't you blame me? I went to bed with you last night, and you. Okay, Qian Xian'er shouted coquettishly and stopped Kizan from continuing, her face as red as a monkey's butt. Don't say that in front of your daughter. Mom and Dad, you can solve your own problems. Run. Qian Yuman spread his legs and ran away, but his speed was too late and his father caught up with him and beat him. Don't look at Dad pretending to hit himself. Pinching his ears is really a real bullet, but it hurts, and now his ears are still red. Xian'er, At this moment, Qizhan no longer had the anger to beat his daughter, and stood in front of her like a child who had done something wrong. Hey, Qian Xian'er also sighed helplessly, looking at the man in front of her who had been pestering her for more than 3 months, the man who used to be her husband. I will treat what happened last night as if it never happened. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 1260. Chapter 1260 Matchmaker Man is online 8. What, never happened? Qizhan raised his head instantly and frowned slightly. As a man, I will definitely be responsible for you for what I did. I am a responsible man. But... Qian Xian'er's face turned crimson and her eyes looked elsewhere. Qizhan excitedly grabbed Qian Xian'er's hand and looked at her affectionately. You know my feelings for you. I love you so much. I came to Paris this time just to rebuild the old relationship with you. Qizhan wants to get back together with his ex-wife every day. Recently, he has seen his daughter get back together with his son-in-law. He is looking forward to getting back together with Qian Xian'er more and more. Qian Xian'er sighed, with confusion in her eyes. I know your feelings for me, but, I don't remember the past. A person without memories makes me insecure. I don't dare to try to accept a new relationship. But what happened last night? Last night, just treat it as an accident. I don't agree. Qizhan opened his arms and held Qian Xian'er firmly in his arms, hugging her tightly. Xian'er, can you accept my feelings? Qian Xian'er's strong heart began to waver at this moment. She had always seen how good the man in front of her was to her. You're dreaming. At this time, an inappropriate voice interrupted them. Tang Wentao, who was wearing sportswear and had just returned from his morning jog, ran over, pushed the two of them away, and protected Qian Xian'er behind him. Qizhan, you are trying to take advantage of others' danger. Do you want to force Xian'er to agree to you? Damn it! At this moment, Tang Wentao was filled with anger. Looking at Qizhan's face, he really wanted to beat him up. He thought so, and actually waved his hand. The two of them instantly got into a fight. Qian Xian'er was anxiously trying to stop the fight, and it was impossible to pull them apart. Tisk, tisk, tisk. He is already 100 years old in total, but he is here like a young man. Xian'er, please step back a little, don't hurt yourself. Xian Kaiping walked to Oqian Xian'er and gently pulled her down to his side. The two men who were fighting stopped and looked up at Xian Kaiping in unison. When they saw Xian'er being held in Xian Kaiping's arms, The two men immediately let go of each other and looked at Xian Kaiping angrily. Let go of Xianer quickly. Let go of Xianer quickly. The two men said exactly the same thing at the same time, although they glared at each other afterwards. Qian Yuman, who was hiding in the corner, witnessed all this and took pictures with the camera in her hand. That's too regretful. It was destroyed by Tang Wentao. But early in the morning, the three men started to get jealous again. There was a quarrel for a while, and finally Xian Kaiping joined the fight and started fighting. Qian Yuman calmly walked to her anxious mother and calmly pulled her away. Mom, if you take care of them, they will stop when they get tired. But Qian Xiener was still worried. Calm down, Qian Yuman shook her head helplessly and sighed. She didn't understand the world of middle-aged men. The expression on Qian's mother's face was also extremely complicated at the moment. From being shy in the morning to having a big head now, it was only a short period of time. The smile on Qian Yuman's face was joyful. She had been observing in the corner for a while, but she could see that mommy had no feelings for dad. This was at least a good start. End of this chapter.